I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rikah, Kudash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also want to acknowledge the Akyam, pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Alright, so I'm going to be in Matthew 7. I'm going to start at 13. It says, Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. So the straight gate is dealing with this narrow path that we're on, right? You got to balance this out when you're in this doctrine. When you come to this truth and this knowledge, you are constantly balancing things out. You don't want to, be overly righteous and overly wicked. So it's a straight gate. If you go too far to the right, you're going to get burned. If you go too far to the left, you're going to drown. You see? Let's see if I can get that verse. I think it's in Esdras. Let me see if I can find this verse. It's in 2 Esdras 7 and 7. Let's grab that. 2 Esdras 7 and 7. It says, The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water. See? So we always talk about balance in this truth and this knowledge, right? Our power Yahweh is a power of balance, right? So, like it says here, that narrow gate, that straight gate. You go too far on the right, you're going to get burned in that fire. You go too far to the left, you're gonna be in that deep water. Let me grab this real quick through the Spirit. Proverbs 11 and 1. A false balance is abomination to Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight. See that? Let me see. So it's a narrow path, when you come into this knowledge and you come into this truth, then you learn how to balance things out, Because like we just read, a false balance is an abomination to Yahweh. All right, there's Ecclesiastes 7 and 16. It says, Be not righteous over much, neither make thou thyself over wise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? Be not over much wicked, neither be thou foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time? See? So when you go off balance, that's why we're constantly reminding ourselves and each other, the ministry and the brotherhood, about the balance and all about the examining ourselves daily. It's not something you do once in a great while or once in a blue moon. No, but you're literally supposed to examine yourself in this truth daily. Watch. Let me grab this verse. You examine yourself daily. It's not something you just, you stop back and reflect on your life, or you reflect on yourself, once a month, or, like I say, once in a blue moon. No, you do this thing daily. It's in 2 Corinthians, tells you that. 13 and verse 5, it says, examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Yahushua HaMashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates. You see that? Let me see if I can get that in a different version. All right, so in the, let's see. I'll grab this one, catches my eye. It's in the World English Bible. And I don't have it on the screen, I'm just reading it from my computer. But it's the same verse, 2 Corinthians 13 and 5. It says, try your own selves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Or know ye not as to your own selves that Yahushua HaMashiach is in you, unless, oh, you know what, I read the wrong one, Salakia. Let me read this again. World English Bible, for 2 Corinthians 13 and 5, it says, test your own selves whether you are in the faith. Test your own selves. Or don't you know as to your own selves that Yahushua is in you? Unless indeed you are disqualified. You see that? So it's something that we do, man. We constantly, every day, we should be examining ourselves, you know? Because we're in this flesh, so it's always good to examine yourself and you know, you got to stay humble. You got to stay, in this knowledge, in this truth. You don't want to become a reprobate or, like I said, disqualified, you know? Let me go back to Matthew. But it's a balance, it's a balance, it's a narrow gate. Matthew 7 and, where am I at? Matthew 7 and, let's see. Matthew 7 and 14. It says, because strait is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there that be that find it. All right, because we always tell you the elect is a smaller number than the heathen and the 2/3 that are going to be destroyed in that nuclear fire. All right. So the straight gate is narrow and it leads to life, though. If you can balance your life out, you don't want to be overly wicked or overly righteous. Like Ned Flanders, that's like in that Simpsons cartoon, he'd be like an example of an overly righteous person where there's no balance, right? He's always in that Ned Flanders mood, Oh, you got to balance everything out, man. And that's what's wrong with these pagan Christians, because they think you're supposed to be like that Ned Flanders spirit, overly righteous. But no, there's always balance in this truth of ours. You see? But it says here, few there that be that find it, right? And that brings to mind another precept, and it's also in Esdras. Let me see, 2nd Esdras 8. Right here, 8 and 1. It says, and he answered me, saying, the Most High hath made this world for many, but the world to come for few. See that? Just like what we read. Few there be that find it. Alright? Let me see something real quick. We always go into words, one of the things our elders taught us in this truth is always looking up words, and we know the definition of few. It's always to look it up, And when you look up the word few in the Oxford Dictionary online, it says a small number of, right? So it's only going to be a small people that are walking in this straight gate, that have the, know how to balance things out. Here are similar words: not many, hardly any, scarcely any, a small number of, right? A couple, a small amount of. You see? So it's not about all the people. The Lord's He's not a power of numbers. It's not a numbers game like these pagan Christians. They try to think, oh, you got the biggest church, the most people in your congregation, that makes you righteous. But no, that's not what it is. When you come into the understanding, you realize that, hey, the truth is actually it's an exclusive. The elect is an exclusive group. It's not a huge number. I mean, it is a big number because Israel is a huge, we're a big number of people. But when you compare it to the ones who are going to be destroyed, the elect is a much smaller number. All right. But you got, the way the world thinks, they're like the opposite. They think, oh, well, you got a big giant church, or you got the most, like the IUIC, you got the most members out of all the Hebrew Israelite camps. Those guys must be those guys must be where it's at. And that's not how it is. All right. So let's get Matthew 7:15. It reads, beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. And that's what it is, the false prophets. But if you're of the elect, guess what? You're going to be able to discern the false prophets. Because the elect is going to have a spirit, you're going to have a spirit to study, research, look into, and understand this truth. And the ones who are not of the elect, they can't discern the false prophets. So they get caught. Those are the sheep that get caught by that ravening wolf, right? Let me see that word, ravening. Let me get that real quick. Ravening. All right, let's get ravening definition. It says extremely hunger or hunting for prey. You see? So if you're not of the elect, you're not going to understand the Bible, and you're not going to, like, when the devil comes around or the false prophet comes around, you're going to be his prey. You're going to walk right into the trap. See, the elect, like it tells you in Matthew 24, let's grab that real quick. Matthew 24, and was it 24? Yep. For there shall arise false Hamashiachs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, and so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. See that? So it's not possible to deceive the elect. Because why? Because we have a discerning spirit, meaning we have a spirit that recognizes wickedness. We can recognize when there's a false prophet speaking. We can recognize when people go off in the doctrine. And part of it is because we're diligent with our study. We're diligent with our we're diligent. That's just what it is. You can't deceive a diligent man. But someone who just goes to church casually, on a so-called church on a Sunday here in Babylon, they really don't read the Bible. They just kind of go through the motions. They're easily deceived. That's why nobody, for so long, no one ever questioned shit. Nobody ever questioned the lies that they were teaching us when we were in those churches. Because we're in the last days now. We're in the time now where the Lord has put the Spirit on His prophets to and He's gathering His elect through the Holy Spirit. And you can't deceive the elect. All right? Esau, the game is through. The only ones you can deceive are those ignorant 2/3 who, they're just they really don't value the knowledge. They don't value the truth. It was never really in them. and they got disenchanted, because they were this was never for the 2/3. In Matthew 7 and 16, it says, "Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns, or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit." And what is a tree? The tree is likened to parable for men. So this is not talking about trees, And Kahala Yahbashim Yoshai, it's 1044. The number of the prophets, 144,000. Alright, but that's what it is. The trees are the men. Let's see, it's in Mark 8 and 24, it tells you that, right? Oops. Mark 8, 24. At the top of your screen it says, "And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking." Alright? Because like our King David said, "Through thy precepts I get understanding." Alright? That's another thing when we're in the Christian churches, when we're in these pagan churches in Babylon. We never even knew what a precept was. You see? Matthew 7:17, it says, "Even so every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit." Right, and I got another precept that comes to mind. Let's see, Ezekiel 36 and 9, I believe. No. It was 36. It's been a while since I brought this one out. 31 and 9. So Ezekiel 31 and 9, it says, and this is talking about Adam in the garden, right? Because remember, Adam was trees. It says, verse 9, Ezekiel 31 and 9, "I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Eden that were in the garden of the Most High envied him." See that? So can a tree envy somebody? If you're just going outside, is the tree going to get jealous? No, the tree is, because it's a parable, it's a metaphor, it's talking about a man. Right? Matthew 7. And where am I at? Matthew 7 and 18. It says, "A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit." So there you go. More proof. This is talking about men. All right? So if you're teaching sound doctrine, then there's no way you're going to bring forth evil fruit. But if you're corrupt and you're twisting the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai around, or you're teaching an unsound doctrine, or you're teaching things that don't line up with the scriptures, then you're that corrupt tree, and you're bringing forth, you can't bring forth good fruit, And the brothers, we always say that, hey, we can teach this doctrine all the day long, but the second we go off on the doctrine, you become a false prophet, and that's a heavy thing. Do you really, that's another prayer we should do every day, is ask that we continue in sound doctrine. Ask Yahweh to keep us in the correct spirit. With we don't want to put false words, bring forth false words. See. Verse 19, "Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire." And that's dealing with this end, with the nuclear fire. Hey, if you've been teaching men, the unsound doctrine, you've been teaching men that Edomites can make it in the kingdom. You've been teaching men that the mark of the beast is white women. You've been teaching men that John the Baptist fell out of the truth. You've been teaching men that, all kind of madness that these other camps teach. Then guess what? You're going to be hewn down and you're going to be thrown into that fire. All right? Verse 20. Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them. And there you go. Again, talking about the tree, but it's referring to a man. Referring to the men who, like we always tell you, the tree is simply a metaphor, a parable likened unto them. It's actually talking about a man. Verse 21. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works. Right? Because you got camps out there, they know the names Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, but they choose to go off on the doctrine. They don't give double honors to the elders who basically they've learned from our elders, but they've branched off from one way or another. And this includes Bishop Nathaniel of IUIC. You see that he knows the names, but guess what? His doctrine goes off in it seems like every month he'll be saying some shit that is not according to the scripture, or he breaks something down that's not correct. He brings forth that, and that's that evil fruit. He's bearing evil fruit. He's that corrupt tree, meaning he's a corrupt man. You're corrupting you're committing blasphemy when you speak things that are not of the scripture. When you teach things wrong, when your doctrine is not sound, right? Then you're automatically, you're putting yourself in that fire. That's why it's a very, very serious thing. When it comes to teaching this word, you don't want to be that corrupt tree that's doing this thing